So default friend, whom we both know, she has this amazing thread, and she's just been adding to it, for months now. I think maybe actually for over a year. I'll have to go check. And she has been chronicling online culture. I mean, that's what she does. She's a chronicler of online culture. She noticed this trend of these young women on TikTok being like, "Hey, can we talk about how sex positivity was used to just like get us to do things we didn't want to do?" And that's totally right. That's exactly what was happening. All of this weird empowerment stuff, which I would say is just sort of, it's like late stage, late stage sexual revolution. It was used in a way to sort of to get women to do things that they didn't want to do. Discomfort and a sort of nagging feeling that one is being too available, that one is betraying one's own continence. This was written off as prudery, being repressed, internalizing repression, all of this stuff. And what was it all for, really? That awareness is starting to grow. But one thing that I have noticed is you're right. People are saying, well, oh, this was I saw this brilliant tweet. It was like, convincing women to let men use their bodies was the greatest psyop the patriarchy had ever pulled off. And it's no, the patriarchy, there are countries where the patriarchy is still in effect, and women are locked up at home, they're covered in burqas. It's very much the opposite of what we've had. But I think young women are correct in that this is, in some sense, a male benefiting, or at least some men. This is a male benefiting situation that they're in, where they are expected to be sexually available, regardless of whether they want to be or not.
Yeah, I think the main problem here is that from a liberal feminist perspective, the solution is absolutely invisible, because the presupposition there is that we are equal, and we're equal in like very profound ways, and men are interchangeable with women. So why shouldn't women enjoy their sexual liberation, and why shouldn't they be finally in joining the ranks of men who allegedly have been enjoying these freedoms for since time immemorial? But it doesn't pan out that way. And my feeling is that because, this is a big lie, in the sense that men are not equal to women in terms of, they're not on equal footing in the sexual realm, and they never will be. And as long as women don't really accept the fact that they are different, it's going to have kind of disastrous results at the end of the line.
Yeah. And, a lot of liberalism is like this. It's like, you take some paradigm of difference, you take some you take some sphere of life in which people are constrained, and you say, well, not anymore, right? And the thing is, those constraints, we still talk about them as constraints, we talk about them as limitations, we talk about getting rid of them as liberation. A better way, a better framing for this is the removal of guardrails, is the explosion of certainties. It's the destruction of guideposts. We're really, I'm trying to avoid saying Chesterton's fences, but we're really actually just like tearing down the kind of footholds that we use to navigate life. We're not really becoming free. We're becoming lost. And this has been tread through. Every critique of liberalism is essentially this critique. But with the sexual revolution, this is how we produce new people. It's not as simple as like, hey, yeah, you can buy and sell everything. And yet it intersects with all of those domains for that reason, right? It intersects with political domains. It intersects with foreign policy. The Greek word oikonomos famously translates to, well, what's that got to do with what I do in my bedroom? It's really how humans organize their lives. They organize their lives around family. They all of our soldiers. These are people who were born to someone, right? These are people produced by marriages. These are people who, sometimes enlist for the sake of having money to provide for their families. And so it's hard really to it's hard to separate the sexual issue from a critique of the rest of liberalism. And I feel like it just hasn't been gored enough. It hasn't been, critiqued enough. And, it's really a central thing. I'm not saying if we solved it, we would solve a lot of other things, but, many people sublimate problems, in their own lives. I'm not saying everyone with dyed blue hair, is crazy, but, you know, a lot of women, if they just had a normal family life, would not have these sort of crazy political commitments. You know, first of all, they'd be too busy. They'd have too much to do, right? I mean, like, running a young household is it's no mean feat. But then secondly, and Mary Harrington has talked about this, Unheard, author Mary Harrington, moving in circles on Twitter. Nothing will explode your presuppositions of a blank slate than having more than one kid. You'll just see two different human beings from a very early age developing these personalities and these inclinations.